The sellers won't tell you this, but you can tell if a watermelon is sweet or bland at a glance. Can you believe it? Cool, juicy melons are popping up all over the markets and grocery stores. But have you ever spent a few dollars on a beautiful watermelon, only to bite into it and find it bland, dry, and not sweet at all? If that's happened to you, don't miss today's video. I'm going to share 6 easy and reliable tips for picking the perfect watermelon. So easy to remember and use, you'll be picking sweet, deep red, juicy melons every time. You don't have to be an expert, just check out these 6 signs on the outside of the melon, and you'll know right away if it's worth buying. Let's find out from the first minute. Ready? Let's get started. 1. When choosing a watermelon, the first thing you should pay attention to is the color of the rind. A naturally ripe watermelon will usually have a dark green rind with a dull, non-shiny skin. This is a sign that the melon is fully ripe, has had plenty of exposure to sunlight, and is ready to eat. On the other hand, if the rind is pale green, shiny, or slightly grey, it is likely that the watermelon is still young and has not yet developed its full sweetness. The flesh will be bland, dry, and lacking in water. Here's a simple tip. Choose melons with evenly coloured, slightly dull-looking rinds. These are naturally ripe, sweet, and juicy. Not only are these melons delicious, they're also worth every penny, and you won't feel like you're getting a bargain. So don't let the shiny exterior fool you. Take a close look at the colour of the rind to pick a truly high-quality watermelon for your family. 2. Another important tip for spotting a sweet, ripe watermelon is to check the bottom of the fruit, the part that stays above ground while growing. If you see a deep yellow or slightly orange patch, that's a very good sign. This colour indicates that the melon ripened naturally in the field, absorbing plenty of sunlight and nutrients from the soil, so the flesh will be sweet, juicy, and flavourful. On the other hand, if the bottom is white or pale yellow, it's likely that the melon was picked too early or wasn't fully ripe. The flavour will likely be bland, dry, and lacking in the rich watermelon flavour. So next time you pick a watermelon, don't forget to turn it over and check the bottom. Choose ones with deep yellow spots. They're often prime candidates for a delicious summer treat. 3. Did you know that the veins on the watermelon are also a sign to choose a sweet watermelon? Normally, the surface of the watermelon has veins like ripples on the water surface. So when choosing, choose fruits with even, dark, thick, and clear veins, which is a sign of juiciness and rich sweetness. These crack-like veins form as the fruit grows and reaches the ideal water level inside, creating a sweet and juicy taste. If the rind has no veins or is uneven, the fruit may be unripe or overripe, affecting the quality of the fruit. 4. One way to choose a watermelon that almost everyone has tried is to tap it lightly. However, many women just tap it lightly for fun without really knowing what the sound means. Now, let me introduce to you. When checking a watermelon this way, use the palm of your hand to support one side of the fruit and gently tap the opposite side with your other hand. If you feel a clear vibration spreading throughout the fruit, that is a sign that the watermelon is ripe. But if you tap lightly and do not feel any vibration, then it is likely that the melon is not yet ripe. You can also use your knuckle to tap it lightly. Listen carefully to the sound. If it sounds like boong boong, the watermelon is just ripe, and it will taste sweet and crunchy. If it sounds like thud thud, the melon is overripe. If you hear tock tock, it is a sign that it is still green. Generally, the deeper and more resonant the sound, the riper the watermelon. So from now on, whenever you tap a watermelon, you will have a secret trick up your sleeve. No more tapping just for fun without knowing if it's delicious or not. 5. Another very simple way to choose a good watermelon is to use your hands as a scale to feel the weight of the fruit. When you are at the market and trying to decide between 2 watermelons of similar size, not sure which one is sweeter, just use a hand scale to test. You can pick up each one to compare. The heavier one in your hand is usually juicier has thicker flesh, and ripens more evenly. This is a clear sign that the watermelon is sweet and delicious. But if a watermelon is lighter than it looks, it is most likely dry, spongy inside, or not sweet. If the melons are not too big, you can hold one in each hand at the same time to compare. The heavier and firmer one is the better choice. This tip comes from experienced watermelon farmers. They can just pick one up and tell which one is sweet without cutting it open. So next time you go to the market, remember, a big watermelon is not always sweet. A small but heavy one is the one to pick. 6. Finally, don't overlook a small but very important detail: the navel at the bottom of the watermelon. This is the small round spot opposite the stem. If the navel is small and tightly closed, it's a sign that the watermelon is fully ripe, with the flesh inside expanding evenly, meaning the rind will be thinner and easier to eat. Watermelons like this are often naturally ripe, and they tend to be sweeter and juicier. On the other hand, if the navel is large, slightly swollen, or has a gap, be careful. It's likely that the melon isn't fully ripe, or may have been treated with chemicals to ripen faster. These melons tend to taste bland, lack a distinctive aroma, and may even have a dry or powdery texture. So next time you're at the grocery store, be sure to check the navel before you pick. And that's all you need: 6 tips for choosing the perfect watermelon. Don't rely on the pretty skin, or just randomly tap it like I did. That method is not reliable. A good watermelon is a combination of many factors, and you need to check carefully to choose the right one. Now let's cut open the watermelon I picked and see. Wow! Look at that deep red flesh. And the taste? It's really sweet and delicious. Watermelon is about 90% water, which is great for cooling down on hot summer days. Drinking enough water every day helps maintain the balance of the body, which is especially important for older people. Next, if you don't finish eating the watermelon and want to preserve it well, we will add 2 garlic cloves to 2 watermelons and wrap them or store them in an airtight container in the refrigerator. Keep them cold to keep them fresh and avoid contamination. Never leave a cut watermelon at room temperature for too long. I hope these tips will help you every time you go shopping. Remember to save and share with your loved ones so everyone can pick sweet watermelons every time they go to the market. Here's a little secret. Watermelon rinds are actually edible. Do you believe it? Follow me to discover the magical uses of watermelon rinds in the next video. Bye and see you in the next video.